Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 8 of the Vuelta España 2023. It's the weekend, Saturday, so you know it's prime time viewing here in Spain, which means they're going to put on another mountain stage for us fans sitting on the Chesterfield to enjoy. Today's stage, 165 miles, about 105 miles in length, and something like 5 categorized climbs on today's stage. But it's the last climb you really want to pay attention to. Only 4 kilometers long. It's not that bad, right? 11.5% with 22% sections. It's going to summit with just over 3 kilometers to go. Drop down a descent, have a nice little ramp with about 500, 800 meters to go as it starts to come up. Then it really kicks pretty hard at the last 300 meters up to the finish. That has a little bit of a chicane, final right bend that'll come out to the finish line. And in today's stage 8 of the Vuelta España. Now, the problem with stage 8, unlike any other one-day races, remember when you were a kid, you do something bad and your parents would say, just forget about it. That's in the past. We don't have to worry about that. We learn from that mistakes and we can fix stuff. Well, Pseudo Quick Steps, Remco Evenepoel, and his whole team, especially his director sportifs that came up with that plan on stage 6 to let 40 guys go up the road, and one of them being Sepp Kuss, to get near the race leader's red jersey. Remember, he's only a few seconds back there from Lenny Martinez from FDJ, who's wearing the race leader's red jersey here on stage 8. They're still got to pay the price. Guys, Remco Evenepoel and Pseudo Quickstep are going to have to pay the price for that stage 6 on every mountain stage that's coming in front of us until they can drop Sepp Kuss and be in front of Primož Roglič and Jonas Vingegaard. Now, let me back the film up to yesterday's stage 7, because remember I told you Sepp Kuss needs to start riding at the front. I'll show you with 5.3 kilometers to go, the back of the cameras, they have the live action there. You see Sepp Kuss as he misses the crash directly in front of him as he's hopping up on the sidewalk and burns through on the left side, and it's Geraint Thomas that's crashing on the sidewalk, and his bike just misses Sepp Kuss as he shoots the gap, and Geraint Thomas goes down with his bike there. And we'll see both knees on Geraint Thomas scratched up. So he's going to have a hard stage 8 here at the Vuelta España. He's going to lose some time at the end of today's stage. But Sepp Kuss made that gap instead of losing time or getting caught up in that crash, which is why I said Pseudo Quickstep and Remco Evenepoel got to continue to pay the price until Sepp Kuss gets behind Remco Evenepoel in the general classification. And for that matter, Jonas Vingegaard, Primož Roglič need to stay behind Remco Evenepoel after these mountain stages, or they're going to keep paying the price. And every mountain stage is going to be that way. Now, before today's stage start, we see the interview there from our Insman, who crashed hard yesterday's race. You see him with the neck brace. He lost a couple teeth. He's hurting pretty bad, but he's up walking. Got knocked out for a little bit, but he's alive. He's doing good, and he had breakfast with his teammates from Ineos this morning. So that's a good thing to happen right there. Everything else can heal, be fixed, and our Insman can be back racing sometime next season, I'm sure. Either way, let's get into the action right now, because we got a good and exciting stage. When the cameras come on with about 95 kilometers to go, 30 riders are in the front group, and one is up the road. It's Lotto Destiny up the road, and that's Thomas de Gent. Now, when you got 30 guys back there and one Thomas de Gent up the road, you gotta believe with 5 minutes and about 30 seconds gap on the Peloton behind, being led back there by Robert Hessink and FDJ with a couple riders, you know that there's a shot of bringing this group back, but 30, if they're willing to work together at 5.5 minutes, man, this break is gone. We saw that on stage 6. Only problem with today's stage, when you see one solo rider, and it's Thomas de Gent, and he's not quite on that old school Thomas de Gent form where he's drilling it full gas and just blowing everybody up as he's going solo up the road. That Thomas de Gent we haven't seen since the Giro d'Italia victory he had a couple years back. So up front right now, when I'm first looking at the gap, I'm thinking, well, okay, Lotto Destiny, you got 4 guys in this group of 30. Thomas de Gent goes up the road. That means the other 3 get to sit on. The problem is the group behind is too big, being 30 riders. Nobody wants to work together, and there's no pure climbers that have a ton of team help back there, because Lotto Destiny is the only one with multiple numbers. So the Lotto Destiny DS that's driving the car, he's making a tactical mistake right here. And I gotta agree that when Thomas de Gent first attacked, I thought, okay, this might be good. But when you go back to the Peloton and you see Robert Hessink and one FDJ rider back there, 2 guys total, and they're bringing down time on this group of 30, At that moment, you got to realize that tactically there's some mistakes being made by Lotto Destiny, because with those 4 guys, Sylvain Moniquet is one of them. We see Van Etvelt, that's one of them. And Andreas Kroon, who won stage 2 of this Vuelta a España, along with Thomas de Hint, who's up the road. So if you have 4 guys in your Lotto Destiny and all the other teams there don't have perfect climbers, you got a little bit of help with Cofidis that have 2 riders that would probably ride at the front with Lotto Destiny. And you also have Burgos BH with 2 riders that would probably sell out one of them to ride on the front because they're a small Spanish team and they're not bad climbers, and nobody in this group is really that great of a climber with the exception of Damiano Caruso, but we saw earlier on the mountain stages he's not going so good. So that's why you see total chaos in this group of 30 and everybody attacking. We're going to see 5 guys bridge up to Thomas de Hint, and then immediately Thomas de Hint's going to drop out of this group, leave those 5 guys up front. He's going to drop back. And why is he dropping back? Well, there's 3 riders chasing, and one of them's Andreas Kroon. So Thomas de Hint's going to go back there, do some pulling, but clearly his legs are done, and he's going to fall off that group. But those 3 guys will get close enough to bridge up to the 5 up front to put 8 riders up there. Only problem is nobody's gelling in the group, and they're all going to come back together, and there's chaos and attacks going all over the place. We're going to see an interview from Romain Bardet, who's in this front group, but he said he crashed yesterday, so he doesn't know how he's feeling, and he's down on the general classification. But when you throw in riders like Damiano Caruso and you throw in riders like Romain Bardet, everybody else, the other 28, 26 riders in this group, they're all worried about these guys, even though Romain Bardet crashed yesterday, so you don't know quite how his form is. But could Andreas Kroon stay with that Romain Bardet who crashed yesterday? Maybe, maybe not, but he's certainly got some form. Or if you're Lotto Destiny, maybe you work and get a little bit closer and then start attacking the group. But either way, the group's losing time, and like I said, it's Robert Hessing back there and FDJ chasing as they're bringing minutes down often throughout this stage. Now, as we start getting into the final with about 40 kilometers to go, we're going to see 4 riders break away from this large break here that's losing time left and right. Those 4 riders, Damiano Caruso's up there from Bahrain Victorias, Rui Acosta is there from Intermarché, Lascano from Movistar's up there, and Andreas Kroon from Lotto Destiny, he's in there too to make 4 guys. But the gap is just not that big to the Peloton now, who's starting to throw in some extra help with Dylan Van Barley getting on the front with Robert Hessing. As we're coming into the climb starting proper with 14 kilometers to go, look at Jumbo-Visma as they have brought their whole team to the front before this last and final difficult 5th climb here on stage 8 begins. They got their whole team drilling on the front with under 14 kilometers to go, and the gap's coming down to just under a minute. Up front, when we see the group of 4, they're working well together, but these guys are all tired for sure because the attacks have just been going non-stop for basically 90 miles, 150 kilometers, because now we're coming into the last 10K as the climb's starting proper. They got about 45 seconds as the road starts going up, but we haven't started the climb until 7 kilometers to go, and the Peloton behind now with Jumbo-Visma on the front, 100% motivated trying to bring this group back so that they can win the stage with either Jonas Vingegaard, Primož Roglic, or could we see the American Sepp Kuss wearing the race leader's red jersey here at the end of today's stage? Maybe Jumbo-Visma's riding for that. All I know, when I was sitting on the Chesterfield, today left a lot of interesting stories here to unfold as each page and each kilometer got flipped away and started to disappear as we're coming closer into this last climb. Will Sepp Kuss work for Primož Roglic and Jonas Vingegaard? Or will they work for Sepp Kuss to try to drop the red race leader's jersey of FDJ, Lenny Martinez, so they can put Sepp Kuss in the race leader's red jersey? I don't know, so we got to sit on the Chesterfield and try to figure this out. 7.3 kilometers thereabouts, that's when the climb starts proper. And like I said, this is a monster climb with 22% section, and the breakaway of 4, they're down to just 30 seconds. So you know these guys are getting caught 100%, because when we look back there at the field starting the climb proper, Jan Tratnik is on the front, throwing down 100%. Now, Jan Tratnik will lead up for about 700, 1K after this first part of the climb, then we're going to see that Attila Valters takes over the front. Once Attila Valters gets on the front, look over to the right side of the picture right there. That's Matteo Cattaneo that's sitting second for Pseudo Quickstep, but up on the front is Vervaeke. We go to the back of that group, and that's where we're going to start seeing some of the climbers from Pseudo Quickstep like Jan Hertz that's swinging back there. It shouldn't be Matteo Cattaneo sitting second for Pseudo Quickstep and then Remco Evenepoel third to the left side of the road with Vervaeke on the front. This is a strange scenario when I'm watching it on the Chesterfield, because Vervaeke or Jan Hertz should definitely be behind Matteo Cattaneo, who's on flying form, but he's not their pure climber. Well, we see a little bit of discussion as we see Pseudo Quickstep's Vervaeke sit up and look back. I'm going to fill in the blanks right here and think Jonas Vingegaard said something to Vervaeke that Vervaeke didn't like, because he's basically half a wheel behind Attila Valters there at the front. So Vervaeke's going to get up and look back and give the eye there to Jonas Vingegaard, who I would believe is probably saying something like, hey, get out of the way. We're already on the front going 100%. Now we start looking at the back of the Peloton. Red jersey's back there. He's hurting a little bit. And then we see Attila Valters at the back of the group. Camera comes back to the front. Who's on the front? That's Vervaeke, followed by Matteo Cattaneo, followed by the Belgian rider Remco Evenepoel. Now, what are you knuckleheads doing? Why are you on the front right now? The MO was easy to figure out when you saw Robert Hessink on the front, followed by Dylan Van Barle, followed there, of course, by Jan Tratnik and Valters on the front. That you know Jumbo-Visma want to control the group up this final super steep climb here on stage 8 and try to win the stage. So you don't have to get on the front right now, but Remco Evenepoel wants it faster. So Vervaeke's on the front. He's drilling it. He'll pull for a total of about 3 kilometers right now, but he will start hurting the red race leader's jersey back there, sending him out the back. Vervaeke, after he's done about 300 meters on the front, Matteo Cattaneo is going to take over, and he's going to do about 300 meters on the front. Then we see that as the breakaway is all getting brought back, at the same time that Matteo Cattaneo is blowing on the left side, Remco Evenepoel is going up to the front. But look just a little bit further back, the last Jumbo-Visma rider, that's Sepp Kuss. He starts accelerating hard on the right side. He's getting ready to throw an attack there on Remco Evenepoel, but Remco Evenepoel doesn't see it coming and just moves a little bit over to the right side. Then Sepp Kuss, the American, has to shut the power down and slot in on the Belgian rider of Pseudo Quickstep in second place. Once he does that, coming up the left side is going to be Primoz Roglic. Roglic is getting ready to throw in a soft, kind of hard attack right here up the left side, but he looks back, sees Remco Evenepoel looks pretty good, so really shuts it down without throwing in much of attack. Right after that, Sepp Kuss is going to throw in the next attack, and look over at Remco Evenepoel. He's taking his sunglasses off. He's adjusting his sunglasses, taking them off because he wants to put them on his helmet, while the American Flying Eagle, Sepp Kuss, who could be in the race leader's red jersey at the end of today's stage 8, because race leader's red jersey is already getting dropped off the back. Lenny Martinez from FDJ. Sepp Kuss is going full gas. Well, Remco Evenepoel is going to take his time with his sunglasses and put them into his helmet so he get a little more air on his face right there. This is a ridiculous move. Pseudo Quickstep, you guys have messed up all the tactics. If I bring you guys all the way back to this year's Tour de France in 2023 on stage 14, remember when they were going up Joux-Plane? We saw Jumbo-Visma on the front drilling at full gas. Who did the mistake that day? It was UAE team member, it's Tadej Pogacar, that put his team on the front when he didn't have to, because you know for sure Sepp Kuss was going to pull 100% on that stage. Now Pseudo Quickstep's done the exact same mistake as Tadej Pogacar on this stage 8 of the Vuelta a España. I'm sitting there on the Chesterfield like, Remco Evenepoel, do you not remember anything I've been teaching you up here on the butterfly effect or what? This is the exact same mistake. Well, like I said, Sepp Kuss is going up the road. Remco Evenepoel's adjusting his sunglasses up onto his helmet. Man, you can afford to buy a new pair of sunglasses because they give them to you for free, so you could have just tossed it. Instead, now Sepp Kuss has got a gap up front. When we go back to the back of the group, there's about 5 guys up front. Remco Evenepoel's up there. Primoz Roglic is on his wheel. Jonas Vingegaard is on Primoz Roglic's wheel. Moss is there. And then we see Ayuso, and Ayuso from UAE team member has been struggling off the back, on the back, off the back a little bit. But behind him, we had Hugh Carthy on originally, but he got popped off. And then Almeida went around him. And now we got Almeida and Soler back there struggling. But as Remco Evenepoel's backing off the gas as Sepp Kuss is riding away, those two UAE Team Emirates riders will get on, minus the EF Education rider of Hugh Carthy, who won't see this front group again. But now you got 3 UAE Team Emirates back on. Now, after getting his sunglasses onto his helmet, the Belgian rider, Soudal Quickstep's Remco Evenepoel, looks like he's on fine form. When I'm sitting on the Chesterfield, I'm texting my home scouts and I'm saying, the kid looks very good, but tactically he's already made a mistake because he let Sepp Kuss go up the road. Now, as Sepp Kuss is going up the road, Remco Evenepoel starts setting some tempo, and I'm thinking, wow, this is what I'm talking about, of paying the price for mistakes in the past on that stage 6. Now he's on the front, and I explained that to you guys yesterday on stage 7 of how important Sepp Kuss was. Now with him up the road with Remco Evenepoel on the front, Primoz Roglic is sitting in a Cadillac ride, right? It's 22% Cadillac ride. You got the best Belgian kid in the last 4 years to win a Grand Tour up here, Remco Evenepoel, so it's not too Cadillac, but Primoz Roglic is getting a draft off of Remco Evenepoel, and so is Jonas Vingegaard. Now, Soudal Quickstep, Remco Evenepoel is going to start setting a steady pace. But like I said, UAE Team Emirates are back on. With 1 kilometer to go, he's going to wrap up Sepp Kuss. And then Remco Evenepoel still going to stay on the front. Now he's making catastrophic tactical mistakes all over the place up this climb. And I'll get back to those after the stage finishes. But when we come up to the KOM, Remco Evenepoel goes over first. Primoz Roglic second. Jonas Vingegaard third. And Moss is on along with Ayuso sitting there in 5th. Sepp Kuss had come off just before the top with 400 meters to go. He'd taken Almeida and Soler with him. So 3 riders are back there chasing to try to get up to the 5. Remco Evenepoel is going to start the descent in first position. Moss is going to start to open up a gap like right away. I don't know what's happening to the Movistar rider because this descent does not look that technical, but Ayuso's hip to the ideal here, and he goes right around Moss to close up the gap on Jonas Vingegaard. Now Moss is opening up a bigger gap. He's chasing all the way down the descent. Remco Evenepoel looks like he's pedaling decent on the front, but not 100% effort because Soler and Almeida, along with Sepp Kuss, are starting to gain back up on the front group. But Moss is still back there pedaling like crazy, trying to close the gap. Now we're coming into just about 1.5 kilometers to go. You see as they round the left bend there, so we got, of course, Soudal Quickstep on the front. And you see Sepp Kuss coming from the back there trying to close the gap. He's got Soler and Almeida still further behind him. Moss is getting right back on with about 1 kilometer to go. Sepp will follow, 500 meters to go. Soler is going to get back on along with Almeida. And then with 300 meters to go, we're going to start going into a left bend, 250. It's going to be Remco Evenepoel that throws in a hard acceleration. But let's back the film up just a hair. Look back there. It's Ayuso coming around Jonas Vingegaard as up front with 250 meters to go. Like I said, Remco Evenepoel's throwing in acceleration. Primoz Roglic locked solid on his wheel. They're starting to come around the right bend. Ayuso's bridged up to the back wheel there of Primoz Roglic. Jonas Vingegaard sitting 4th, and all the guys behind him who just got done attaching now are 100% at the max. As they go into 125 meters to go with the right bend, that's when we see Primoz Roglic, Jumbo-Visma, first time to hit the front here on stage 8. He's accelerating around the outside of Remco Evenepoel. Now with 75 meters to go as they exit the turn, Primoz Roglic is in first. Remco Evenepoel second. Ayuso's third. Jonas Vingegaard back there is looking back because he's opening up a gap. He can't hold the wheel, but he's got some company back there that'll try to close the gap because Almeida's coming fast. Up front, Primoz Roglic going full gas all the way into the line with 25 meters to go. It's the same order. Primoz Roglic first, Remco Evenepoel second. Third place right there is Ayuso with 10 meters to go. Primoz Roglic knows he's got the race won as he crosses the line. Arms raised out with both fingers showing, and then the #1 pound sign showing that Jumbo-Visma dominated today's stage. Primoz Roglic first, Remco Evenepoel second, Ayuso third on the stage. Race leader's red jersey is going to lose about 1 minute and 10 seconds on the end of today's stage. He's going to finish with Kian Utebrooks. Vlasov lost about 50 seconds to a minute on today's stage. Geraint Thomas lost a ton of time on today's stage, so he's going to be out of the general classification. That's any hope for GC, for Ineos, going further past this first week of the Vuelta a España. Now, Remco Evenepoel, in his interview, he's completely upset about losing today's stage. He says this is his second home area and he trains here all the time. And it's a bitter pill to swallow for Remco Evenepoel. But Remco Evenepoel, your tactics were ridiculous on today's stage. Let's go back to that 4-kilometer last climb that started with 7 and summited there with 3 kilometers to go in today's race. when you started that climb. You know Jumbo-Visma's on the front. You know they want to win the stage. They're still the breakaway at 4 up the road. Granted, they're only 30 seconds. They're going to get caught. But you know Jumbo-Visma want to go full gas and want to try to win today's stage. Now, as I'm sitting on the Chesterfield, I was thinking, Remco, you gotta let the soup settle a little bit. Let it settle, let it boil a little bit, let it build a little bit, let the flavor build. See what's gonna happen. Will Jumbo-Visma, after Attila Valters gets off the front, will they put Sepp Kuss on the front right away and see what the American kid would do? Because that's normally their MO, right? Send Sepp Kuss to the front, have him set a hard, steady tempo up there and blow everyone off. If that's the case, Sepp Kuss might have went 100% up that climb, and Remco Evenepoel, who, I'll give it to you, the Belgium kid looked spectacular. His legs was on flying form. Tactics a nightmare, and here we go why. Because Sepp Kuss, he could have been on the front pulling 100% trying to blow it up. Then Remco Evenepoel could have lit everyone up after Sepp Kuss killed the legs, and Remco Evenepoel could have possibly soloed today's stage. Now, would he have taken Primoz Roglic or Jonas Vingegaard with them up the road? Possibly, but we all got to agree Remco Evenepoel looks spectacular to be able to ride 2 kilometers up the final climb all the way down the descent for 3K and then do the lead out at 250 meters to go and only lose by a bike to Primoz Roglic at the end of today's stage. But the better tactic to employ on today's race, like I said, let's say Sepp Kuss doesn't go to the front, Attila Valters does, and then clearly, if they're not going to go to the front, Jumbo-Visma that is, they're going to start attacking. So you wait for the attack from Sepp Kuss. The Belgian rider Remco Evenepoel follows it. If they got a gap, he attacks Sepp Kuss. If he looks back and everyone's on the wheel, you wait for the next attack. The next attack's going to come from Primoz Roglic or Jonas Vingegaard. If they throw an attack, Remco Evenepoel leaves Sepp Kuss' wheel, goes to the next attack. Same scenario. Look back. Do you got a gap? If you got a gap, you attack Primoz Roglic or Jonas Vingegaard and go solo over the top. If you don't have a gap, wash and repeat Remco Evenepoel and wait for Jonas Vingegaard or Sepp Kuss to throw in the third attack, then follow that. Wash and repeat every attack going up this final climb until finally you see a gap from whichever Jumbo-Visma rider's attacking next. Then you accelerate, go over the top of the climb. You'll probably go solo. You end up having Primoz Roglic, Jonas Vingegaard, and Sepp Kuss all one by one going over the top of the climb trying to chase you down the descent, and possibly you would have won the stage and gain more time on Primoz Roglic and Jonas Vingegaard along with Sepp Kuss, the American. Well, congratulations to the American, I got to say, because you did a flying job up this climb, not only putting in the attack so Remco Evenepoel had to pull Primoz Roglic and Jonas Vingegaard, but you put yourself into the race leader's jersey. Now, in Sepp Kuss's interview, he said he's going to have to get himself some 44-centimeter bars and maybe slow down his pedal stroke a little bit, because Chris Horner, myself, last wearer of the race leader's red jersey here at the Vuelta España for the U.S., I always stood on the pedals and ran about 60, 70 RPMs up the climb, and I always had 44 bars. So Sepp Kuss, congratulations. Welcome to the Race Leaders Red Jersey Club. And hopefully, I'm kind of split here a little bit because I want some fantastic racing. I picked Jonas Vingegaard to win. Would love to see Remco Evenepoel, though, put on a show and destroy everybody. I enjoy watching Primoz Roglic race. He's one of my favorites in the professional Peloton. But Sepp Kuss is the American. If he can win the Tour of Spain with the Race Leaders Red Jersey, I would love to see that too. So I'm torn sitting up here on the podium of the butterfly effect. I just hope the racing continues to be as spectacular as it was today on Stage 8 of the Vuelta España. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next edition real soon.